First of all, Mr. Hazard, I want to just raise an issue there. You said that the councillors are there to report back, but at the public protest, one of the councillors said that they are there to listen and not comment. And I find that, and I'm just telling you what he said. Then when I took that up with the Harbour Authority at the meeting, they told me that the councillors were there to talk and to challenge them. They also told me that once a quarter they hold a meeting to tell the representatives what's happening at the harbour, but that hardly any of them ever turn up, which is really sad that in our community our representatives don't be bothered to go to a meeting when they're getting paid to be on the board. Yes, I did go to a meeting with the harbour. I asked to bring Colin with me, and I was told at the night before that I couldn't, that Colin wasn't going to be welcome. So I went on my own. I had an experience. I met Mr. Holmes and Mr. Murphy from Regen. We toured the site. It was a very interesting visit. I asked about the nets, the netting over the bales, and I asked about holes and how the vermin would get in and out and how birds get caught. And there were no holes. But it was really interesting because I was able to point out to Mr. Murphy that there were quite a lot of holes. And he told me he was going to get them fixed. But they didn't look as if they'd just arrived. They'd been there a while. Then I asked Mr. Murphy how high those bales could go, because they were 3 times the height of me, and he told me that he could put them up as high as he wanted, that there was no limit on how high they could go. I asked them what changes they'd made. They told me that they now have a rotation system where that they can only have the bales for 6 weeks and then they have to be moved out. I'm not sure how that happens when some of the dates on the bales that were their longest were at the bottom, so more bales were going on top, so I don't know how you get the bottom ones out. I asked about representation on the board, and the fact that you mentioned, I said that they were a public body and they are based in Warrenpoint, and that we as members of the public should have some say. And I asked if any of us poor ordinary people could be on their board. And I was told that the permanent secretary at Stormont decides who goes on the board. And I feel that as a resident who lives here, who's subjected to the stink and the flies, that people like us should have a say on that board. And I was told that wasn't possible. So there were some issues I just wanted to bring up with what you were saying, because I don't find that our representatives, like Bill said, they're not feeding back to us, and it turns out they're not doing anything on that board and they're not going to the proper meetings, which is a disgrace.